Two things before I begin talking. I want to cover my ignorance. So I say I will be talking only about main points. Okay? It's because of my ignorance and limited time. And I am not a theologian. So I trade gently on theological stuff. What I do is philosophy of artificial intelligence, philosophy of information, and a few other things. So we'll be talking about information, logos, convergence, science, and theology, I hope. Yeah, so I was fascinated, because I'm studying information, by the fact that modern theories of information converge on archaic, old, almost biblical concepts of information. And so they come kind of like full circle from the original concept of logos, arche, morphe, Tao, through concepts in mathematical engineering, Shannon's complexity, back to what? To logos. That's how it looks like. Because our concepts of information, if you talk to someone, is usually Shannon. Well, Shannon didn't talk about information. There's another thing, you know. So, but that's what's happening if you analyze modern concept or modern thinking about information. So, very brief history of what we are talking about right now. We begin with Shannon. Information is coded in communication channels, in bits 0, 1. Then we have different models, metrics of information, like Shannon entropy, which is unfortunate name, actually. We have Kolmogorov-Chatin algorithmic complexity, Fisher actually 32 or more metrics of information. Then we have prevalent of the prevalent concept of information, which is semantic epistemic, and Floridi from Oxford, I think, is formulated the concept of general definition of information. But this information is related to knowledge, not wisdom to knowledge. Usually I explain it in terms of information systems. Then we also have the concept of information that are related to properties of nature, physics itself, and it comes under different guise, like structure, form, morphe, is objectively existing as a foundation of nature, stuff like this. And then we have Mark Burgin, general theory of information that actually tried to come together with all those concepts. Mark Burgin died in he was from UCLA in January. So briefly, general theory of information is trying to put all those theories into some kind of umbrella and explain how they are related to each other. And so coming up with a unified theory of information. What does information mean? Actually, there are about 400, still growing, number of definitions of information. If you want to get published, you come up with new name for information, you're published. If you pay open access fees. So this is the concept of GTI, General Theory of Information. Burgin came up with the idea of word structure, physical world, mental world as two modes of information, and physical world information kind of relate to physical information. That you have epistemic, cognitive information and abstractions. I want you to kind of like remember this picture because it will come up at the end of presentation also. So we focus on physical information, on information in nature, and we perceive it like this, that it is perceived as structure, form, or physical thing. The keyword is perceiving, not is, but perceiving as. Okay? Being foundational element of nature, being potential nature for structures, being carrier of other form of information, and having no meaning by itself. Yeah, 5 minutes. Okay, you cut me short, but that's okay. So there is a concept of persistence in time. Things do not persist in time. They come and disintegrate. If we associate physical information with the physical form, information cannot be the foundation of the universe because it comes and goes. However, like snowflakes, if information comes, if information is conceptualized as potential of nature to create forms, then it has lasting property. So I am not theologian, I am just quoting Gregersen from the book, which is on top in red, Interpretation of Logos. Okay, biblical Logos in the beginning was Logos. Yeah? So Logos is a pattern, as life is, Logos is the word, is creative formative principle of the universe, is like arche, Logos in divine information resource setting up to carve the world, bringing information patterns, pervasive structural principle of the universe. All those are interpretation of Logos. So you end up with this. And obviously, this needs analysis. This cannot be taken by itself. You see surprising similarity between the concept of Logos by theologians and modern concepts of information, which came all circles from Shannon musings about communication channels, entropy. Oh, gee, man, this is a criminal thing, actually. to theories of Logos that brings everything together. Okay? And at the end, we may end up with something like this. That there is this all-encompassing model of information. However, in the center of this is this concept of Logos. And if you compare what theologians read into the Logos and what modern philosophers read into the concept of information. Bulgin was philosopher, I don't know if you know his name, but he was philosopher, mathematician, and a few other things. but he was atheist, so he couldn't come up with the centerpiece. But it fits. I have 2 minutes. It's good. Thank you very much. You're a generous person. So that's it. Thank you very much. Sorry to take your time. I hope it was interesting. Thank you very much. I take Spitfire flight.